This is your sign to buy the $7 latte. Against what personal finance gurus may say, buy the latte. Or whatever your version of the $7 latte is. It could be a bagel in the morning, a glass of wine at happy hour, or a protein smoothie after your workout. I am not here to dictate your happiness. I'm only here to encourage you to go after it. What's up? My name is Stefania, for those of you who are just now joining us, and I was a barista for many years. If you've been here a while, then you probably already know that. And for many years, I did not have to pay for my coffee. I had free coffee accessible to me both on and off my shifts, unless my horrible store manager was present. Then only during my shifts. No, but for real, for almost 5 years, I didn't have to pay for a sip of coffee. Even when I was at home, I had free markouts and free fresh coffee beans at all times at home, so I could easily brew coffee at home for free as well. I forgot what it was like to pay for coffee, so when the day came and I hung up my apron for the final time, reality hit me, and I was like, wait, I actually have to pay for my coffee now? Like everyone else? Baristas have sort of a complex coffee order that we develop over the years. Our coffee palates are rather refined, and our coffee orders must contain all the nuances we desire. And as I'm sure you can imagine, those nuances do add up when they're 60 cents a pop. Over the last couple of years, I've gotten really into personal finance. I actually watch a lot of personal finance videos and have read personal finance books in my free time. But one thing I've noticed is that some of these personal finance gurus, and I use air quotes for a reason, I'll explain why later, each and every one of them seem to always speak about how our daily or weekly lattes is costing way too much and we should cut it out immediately. It's always the same argument too. Your latte is the reason that you are unable to purchase a home for the kids that society expects you to have. Or my favorite one, your daily latte is the reason you have not paid your student loans off in full. And look, I'm no personal finance expert myself, and nothing in this video is personal finance advice, so please don't take it as such. But what I will say is, when and where did this narrative begin, where coffee-loving human beings must deprive themselves of their one true love, their $7 latte, in the name of paying off student loans or putting a down payment on a home? If you have been watching me for a while, then you probably already know that frequently I encourage you guys to go get the latte, go get the pastry, and treat yourselves. The average life expectancy in the United States is like, what, 75? When you think about it, that's not very long, and I don't really subscribe to the whole suffer now, save now, to enjoy later mindset, because later isn't always promised. Now, is this video in any way, shape, or form encouraging you to be frivolous or irresponsible with your money? Absolutely not. I am the first person to always say, live within your means, or below your means, rather. But something that I want to point out and discuss real quick, and it's something that I've noticed especially during and after the pandemic. It is no secret that inflation is out of hand. This economy is crazy right now, and I understand that the markets are doing well, and that's great, but a dozen eggs is still $6, so that's not right. Costs have surged everywhere, and I'm sure that you've noticed that they've also surged in your coffee shop as well. I was working at a coffee shop here in Chicago post-pandemic, and those coffee shop prices, I watched them slowly climb up, because the cost of goods and what we were bringing in, our purchasing power was going down, and the cost of everything was going up. So naturally, when the cost of what you're purchasing in terms of beans and cups and all that fun stuff, if that's going up, prices have to match that as well. Basically, if you've noticed prices go up at your beloved cafe, the cafe needs to acquiesce in order to keep their head above water. I've noticed this, and I'm curious if you have noticed this too, that ever since COVID-19 and this post-pandemic world that we're living in, a lot of purchases out of nowhere have now been labeled as frivolous or unnecessary, despite never being labeled as frivolous or unnecessary before. I want to take that a step further though. Have you noticed how many purchases are labeled as frivolous and unnecessary that are feminine-related purchases? I read an article not too long ago, and I'm not going to link it because realistically, the author's take sucked, and no free clout around here. But basically, the author's article was all about the costs that families should be cutting back on in order to weather the storm that is this economy currently. These costs that he was writing about were typically referred to as unnecessary, irresponsible, and frivolous. When I tell you that almost all of the purchases that he labeled as irresponsible were purchases that women predominantly make, I'm not kidding you. Women's spending has been criticized and ridiculed a number of times. When it comes to women's personal finance, the Advice there usually is cutting costs and budgeting, clipping coupons, DIY, do it at home so you don't have to go out and spend the money. There is a reason why, over the years, if you go and you look back at personal finance articles that are aimed towards men, it's about investing, stocks and bonds, and spending money to make money, among those topics. When it comes to women's personal finance articles, you usually find stuff about budgeting, cutting back, couponing. If you ask me, unnecessary is quite subjective, because what is unnecessary to me may be necessary to you. So why are we still telling women to this day what they should and shouldn't be spending their money on? Let's zoom out. Why are we telling people what to spend their money on, what not to spend their money on? Your $7 latte is not keeping you from paying your student loans off in full. What's keeping you from paying your student loans off in full is the ever-rising dollar amount due to the crazy interest rates. And you're telling me that my latte is the reason for that? I don't think so, baby. The call is coming from inside the house. And by house, I mean government. Pick it up, it's for you. Now, I'm not gonna get all political on you, nor do I even want to, but I'm pointing out an issue that a lot of personal finance gurus and other officials like to use lattes as the scapegoat for. Perhaps the issue is not my latte. Perhaps the issue is the overall economy and the way this shiitake is run. I don't think it's personally fair to keep placing blame or causing guilt for people who spend their hard-earned money on things that they enjoy. A latte is just an example, but it's a very common example that comes up pretty often because the majority of this country and really this world loves coffee, and I'm right there with you guys. There is a mental health crisis that is happening all around our country and right before our eyes, and it's only getting worse. Most of the country is depressed. Majority of them are living paycheck to paycheck, and a lot of people are being overworked while simultaneously being undercompensated at their jobs. Here's my opinion. And you may not agree with me, and that's okay, but if 90% of your day right now is feeling doom and gloom, and the only thing that's getting you through your day, and the only thing that's giving you that bump of serotonin that you're looking for is a cup of coffee, then buy the freaking cup of coffee. You work so hard, and you are doing such an amazing job, in case nobody has told you recently. And if you're just starting out, you're fresh out of school, or you're just starting your new job and you're struggling a little bit, you're not alone. And trust me, I've been there, and on some days, I'm still there. It happens. If you wake up every morning and you put your best foot forward and you try your best, you do your best, then you deserve a little treat. You deserve a little something something. And if that treat comes in the form of a $7 latte, then so be it, because same. Listen, bestie, in summation, one day, this world is going to end. And you and I, we're not getting out of here alive. We are living in a post-pandemic world, and even 4 years later, there are a lot of things that are not back to normal. They are not back to pre-COVID times. I saw it firsthand in my coffee shop. Always budget and always live within or below your means. But if that $7 latte is what makes you happy every day, then get the $7 latte and do not let any personal finance guru tell you otherwise. And listen, I use air quotes because I'm not 100% sold that these experts are actually experts. I think during COVID, a lot of people had a lot of time on their hands and they had a lot of time to learn new things. So I really do feel like there's this new wave of people that have just, watched a few YouTube videos or worked a job in a specific field for a year or two, sometimes even under a year. And they've just come out of that claiming that they're an expert now, when in reality, they're very far from an expert. They are a self-proclaimed expert. So please use caution when deciding who to take real life advice from, because some of these people giving this real life advice are not in any position to be giving real life advice. I don't know if it ever occurred to these financial experts that maybe some people's goals are not aligned with purchasing a home, having a family. There are a plethora of ways, especially in this day and age with technology and social media. There are so many ways to make extra money, to have a side hustle or some other form of side income. Instead of trying to save $7 from not getting your latte every day, maybe the advice should be finding a way to make an extra $7 a day so that you don't need to eliminate anything that makes you happy. Or maybe, just maybe, this might be a little bit of a hot take, stay with me here, but maybe, just maybe, we can compensate people properly at their jobs based upon their job functions and the overall cost of living in the area that they're working in. but that's a whole other video. Bottom line, buy the $7 latte if it makes you happy. Treat yourself. You deserve it. You're working hard. These times and this economy is absolutely crazy. I'm with you there. I graduated into this economy, so I get it firsthand. Buy the $7 latte because I promise you, the world will not end if you do. Cheers.